We have a breaking news update coming in from Russia at this point of time. My colleague Samiksha gets more on this news break.
That's right, Crispino. Very, very important update coming in as far as the Russia-Ukraine border crisis is concerned. What you're learning at this point in time is that Russia has announced ceasefire, and that would take place from 12:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So that's the latest that you're learning. Russia declaring ceasefire in Ukraine from 12:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. In fact, according to Russian media, what we're also learning is that the ceasefire is on the request of French President Emmanuel Macron. That is when Putin held telephonic conversation with Putin as well, and that is, beg your pardon, Putin held conversation with Macron and discussed on the situation in Ukraine, and now ceasefire operations that will take place in Ukraine from 12:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. In fact, we are also getting more details as far as the ceasefire that is concerned. What you're learning is that ceasefire would facilitate humanitarian corridor for the refugees, for people to evacuate from Ukraine. And the regions where the ceasefire will happen is Kyiv as well. More important updates coming in as far as the situation is concerned. What we're also learning is that Prime Minister Modi is also likely to hold talks with Putin this afternoon. So another important update to watch out for.
Well, we're getting you all the latest updates from war-torn Ukraine right now, with a ceasefire having been announced there by Russia. This is the second ceasefire, remember, announced by Russia. At this point of time. That's the latest news that we're getting to you at the top of this broadcast. This is the second ceasefire to be announced. Now let me take you through the visuals on your screen right now from Luhansk. Smoke billowing out of an oil depot in the rebel-held region of Luhansk. You can see the visuals on your screen here of smoke blowing out of an oil depot in Luhansk region here. Now remember, Luhansk is one of the two rebel-held regions in Ukraine. And the latest information as the war enters day 12, Luhansk in Ukraine is on fire. We can see here an oil depot catching fire, a very crucial infrastructure here of the Luhansk region. We are looking at the LPR who are in control there. Heavy shelling between the LPR and the Ukrainian forces in that region. We're looking at right now an oil depot being on fire. The visuals on your screen, huge plumes of smoke billowing out from that oil depot in Luhansk. We have been tracking for you all the latest updates on the broadcast. My colleague Samiksha gets us more on this.
That's right, Crispino. So the visuals that we've accessed show how an oil depot has put on fire in Luhansk region. Now remember, just yesterday we saw how the civilians in Luhansk region, they had taken to streets, they had taken over the tanks of the Russian army as well. They had put out Ukrainian flags on this particular tank that they had captured. What we're also learning is that the situation is still grim in Luhansk. Now remember, Luhansk and Donetsk are the two regions, the rebel separatist held regions that were declared as independent regions by Vladimir Putin. So even though the regions have been declared as independent nations by Vladimir Putin, situation remains grim, because what we're learning right now is that an oil depot has been put on fire by the Russian troops. So situation there very, very serious. Luhansk is the region that we're talking about here. So these are the regions where situation is very, very grim. Of course, ceasefire operations have been declared by Vladimir Putin on the request of Macron. And these regions are particularly Kyiv, Mariupol, Kharkiv and Sumy. And that is when they would be able to, the officials in Ukraine will be able to facilitate evacuation operations as far as the ceasefire that is concerned.
Well, those are the visuals that we can to you on your screens of that oil depot, which is still on fire, and operations are underway to put out those blazing flames, which began a couple of hours ago. We're getting you all the latest on ground from the rebel-held region of Luhansk, wherein shelling still continues between both forces.